This is brought to you by the George Jackson University. I am Abdullah Ghazi, a New African revolutionary nationalist. I am a member of the Revolutionary Forces, People's Republic of New Africa, New African Revolutionary Legionnaire, Minister of Defense under the Revolutionary Forces, People's Republic of New Africa, National Chairman of the George Jackson Grassroots Collective, founder of the George Jackson Gun Club, founder of the Black August Security Force, founder of the Jonathan Jackson Youth Academy, founder of the New African Citizen Workers Union, national coordinator of the Autonomous Infrastructure Mission, chief of communications of the George Jackson University, member of the Black August Organizing Committee, organizer of the National New African Contingency Plan in America, and declaration signer and author of the United Regulated Black Militia. This is a political education class about what is a New African, and I'm going to let our special guest introduce himself.
My name is Abumana Shakir. I'm a conscious New African citizen, been a conscious New African citizen in 2002. I'm a New African revolutionary nationalist. I'm the vice chancellor of Georgia University. I'm the active spokesperson of Georgia University. I'm the host of Georgia University Radio. I'm an active member locally of the People Party for Independence of the Ministry of Information. I'm also a local member of the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. I'm also a member of the Black Organizing Committee. I'm a local member of the Imam Jamil Action Network. I'm also a member of the Rebuild Collective Distribution Collective newspaper, and I'm an overall freedom fighter and propagandist. That's a little bit about me. That's who I am.
Okay. For the first question, can you please tell us what is a New African?
What is New African? Well, historically, right, a New African is a new type of person. On the historical aspects of the historical materialism, right, there's a document that was created decades ago by a new African national in the California prison called the Historical Origin of 1619, Historical New African Origin of 1619. And in 1619, the took place we call Black August. 21 captured human chatels came to America that were forcibly brought here, right, from the motherland. When these people were forcibly brought here, and did to service. After 40 years, they passed a law aspect of making them slaves. And during that time period, from 1619 all the way up to the 1800s, right, our people were forcibly raped by the white oppressor. They forced to have breeding camps. They were stripping of their original language, stripping of their religion, the original politics, the original culture, and they were shaped and molded into a new type of people. Why they shaped molded to a new type of people? They were no longer the original African people. They came from the different tribes of Mandingo, Wula, Ashanti, so forth and so on, right? While they were doing this, it was the very process of someone being marooned, some being having runaways, some having the aspects of slave rebellions, some going through the Underground Railroad, so forth and so on. Right? They were developing a new type of people, right? So a New African is essentially anybody who's a descendant of the people that were forcibly enslaved and forcibly captured and brought to America, which you term the empire. That's what a New African is, historically, right? And that also encompasses different people that develop different things here, such as the Nation of Islam, they developed here, the Moorish Science of America, the different street organizations, GD, Vice Lords, the Crips, the Bloods, the different aspects of other organizations that developed like RAM, SNCC, Land Kind of Freedom Organization, Black from the Party, so forth, so on. Those are considered New Africans as well from historical content. Yeah.
There's a lot of confusion going on about indigenous people in America. When we talk about the Native Americans and Moors, can you give us more information of what a New African is and how it correlates to indigenous people in America?
Historically, when the Provisional Republic of Africa was founded March 31st, 1968, right? There were different individuals that was a part of the Moorish Zion Temple who were there at the founding. You know, they have been there since the beginning, and they have been now. They are now today. And also in regard to the aspects of the land claim of the five states, which is Georgia, South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Louisiana. The Louisiana have an aspect called the Watchtower Moors, and the Watchtower Moors identify with the land there. So it has been relations, there have been communication in regard to the Moors, in regard to their landmass. The same thing goes for the people over in African Village, which is South Carolina. The same thing goes for the American Indian movement as well. You know, AIM. They have many different relations with the Freedom of Africa, also New African Independent movement. You know, in regard to that aspect. The more science in America started in America, period. So in regard to that context of things starting in America, it automatically puts in the category of being a New African formation because it started in America. That doesn't mean that they're part of the New African Independent movement, but it means that their organization started in America. We go back historically dialected to us being New African people from a certain type of historical origin coming from the motherland known as Africa. So to answer your question, brother.
For the second question, what is a conscious New African? And a conscious New African citizen.
Okay. Well, according to the Code of Moses, we mean the Code of Unity, which was first created in 1970. In the Code of Moses, it talked about different types of citizens. You could be a citizen by birth, basically meaning that historically that you were born from the descendants of an African man, African woman that were forcibly brought here to change the shackle from the 1619 order. So that might make you a New African. But you got the choice to either be a New African or not be a New African. You still got that choice. Whereas a conscious New African is an individual that assumes the role of fight for independence, fight for liberation, and fight to build a new African nation state and become a new African, new man, new woman, and which were envisioned by the New African Independent Movement, was started by the Original Republic of New Africa in 1968. So that's a person who constantly working to make this a reality. They constantly study to make it a reality. They constantly putting their resources, their time, their energy, and everything in regards to what they have in regards to making this a reality. Somebody who's working toward that goal of New African independence. That's what a conscious New African citizen is. They are, and that make everybody a part of the Republic of Africa who are conscious New African citizens, regardless of their formation or their collective or their family. I yield.
Third question, what is a New African revolutionary nationalist?
But first, before you even say that, we gotta understand what a New African revolutionary nationalism is, right? New African revolutionary nationalism is a philosophical school of thought that is utilized to decolonize the colonized, so that we actually can build a new African nation that are built upon the principles of us having our own social aspects, means our own political, our own military, our own economical, and our own scientific aspects of being agreeable to who we are, right? And all they did do a NARN tool, which is an educational tool that got to educate us on the level of social, political, culture, military, and economic. So the New African Nationalist is an adherent of the particular school of thought, right? That particular school of thought started with the Governmental Republic of Africa. Because the Governmental Republic of Africa is a revolutionary government. And a New African Nationalist broken down to the standpoint of a revolution based mean change. A New African is a it's a total complete way of life. New African encompasses everything. It becomes everything about you socially, culturally, politically, economically, education-wise, spiritually. You know, it could your day-to-day activity, your custom, your ideas, the way you talk, you dress. It encompasses your whole way of life, right? It's a complete way of life. You know, so a New African nationalist is somebody who's working toward building that nation. Nationalist is the standpoint of building a nation. In order to do that, We must decolonize ourselves and become a new man, a new woman, through education and means of those different areas, so that we can able to establish a new community, a new society, which is a new African nation, new world, which we vision by our works and efforts. So that's what our new Afro Revolutionary Nationalists is, and that's what our new Afro Revolutionary Nationalists is. Yeah.
To add more emphasis of what you just said, can you please explain to me in detail what does a new African revolutionary nationalist looks like?
Well, Chocolate that's an example. Adu Luke by Shakir, that's an example. A Joe Kashima Jinsei example. It plenty of new Revolutionary Nationalists on their phone call right now that are actually in the audience, such as Baba Hondo, Baba Brother Rashad, Brother Kwazir Kumo, Brother Jelani Odinga, so forth and so on. Brother Mustafa Waladin, you know, a new African people, new Aboriginal national people you see every day that are putting in the work, that are creating program institutions, that are doing things that are better for the people need, new African needs, that are performing remedies to ill the social ills of new African people. There's very real examples, of this that we see today and what we've seen in the past as well. Baba Matuba Shakir, Baba Mari Bedeli, Queen Mother Moore, so forth and so on. Dr. Betty Shabazz. List goes on and on. People who put in the work and still working to this day. You say raise your hand, free the land, it means you put in the work, So that's what's going on right now to this day. Yeah.
Could you please explain to me where the term New African originates from? Where's its origins?
The term New African, right? One of the first recorded instances of that term was in the late 50s, early 50s, right? And this was a term from a historical perspective when a lot of the African countries would become liberated and free, such as Ghana, especially Ghana, countries like Uganda, places like Kenya, so forth, so on, right? These countries were termed as being New Africa due to the fact that it wasn't the same old Africa that was oppressed in slavery. So they became new African places in existence during that time period. But it also is a new African movement in Africa as well that are geared toward a different type of philosophy, geared to a lot of things that deal with some want to term as Christian nationalism. It called a new African movement that's in Africa right now. They've been going on quite some time as well. Now, according to what the subject level we're talking about right now, the term New Africa came into existence during a 2-day convention in Detroit, Michigan, right? Of March 31st, 1968, where the Provisional Republic of Africa was founded. And the first person to sign the Declaration of Independence was Queen Mother Moore. The second person was it was Baba Papa Wales, and that self represented a duality, so to speak, of a new African man and a new African woman, right? And that when the term came into existence, being a new African in general. Provisional Republic of Africa. The Provisional Government of the Republic of New Africa. That when the term New African came into existence in regard to the subject level we're talking about right now.
Could you please explain to me what is the New African Independence Movement?
Well, the New African Independent Movement is a collective of organizations, formations, cadres, units, individuals, and families that are all working to build this new African nation and liberate these 5 states, which you call the Republic of Africa, which is South Carolina, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So there are organizations, like I said, formations. Some organizations on the call right now, like Rebuild Collective, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, the Black National Republic of New Libya, the George Jackson University, George Jackson Grassroots Movement. These are formations. you know. And there's also individuals on here to represent different things as well, you know, and also different families, you know, so they have embraced certain things, you know, as well in these concepts. It just the same thing like it was in the Black Liberation Movement, different movements in the Black Liberation Movement, like the Black Panther Party, Self-Defense, Revolution Action Movement, the Student National Coordinating Committee that begun the Student National Coordinating Committee, the Ways in the Dugu, different other different movements, you know what I'm saying, the Black Guards, you know, all the movements of the Black Liberation Movement during that particular time, right? Well, the different individuals also as well. So the only difference in regard to certain things is that a new African seeks a national identity, which is a new African. They seek the international identity, new African. They also seek to have a nation, which is Republic of Africa. They also seek to have their own independent, but have their own nation state Republic of Africa as well. You know, that's basically the difference between New African independence and Black Liberation Movement. Whereas you do have Black independence, but New African independence is totally different. Yeah.
What is the difference between Black revolutionary nationalism and New African revolutionary nationalism?
Revolutionary Black nationalism was a certain time period in our story that goes back to the 60s, right? In between the time, but you want to say if you want to give a time period, we'll actually give it 1962 or 1963 when the organization known as NARN was launched, Revolution Action Movement. You know, and one of the persons that really was pushing that those ideas, Revolution Action Movement, was Dr. Muhammad Atma, aka Maxwell Stanford, who also one of the founders of Real People Africa, also was an ambassador in the original cabinet. And Revolution Black National, like Malcolm X was talking about, is the aspect of controlling the politics in your community, controlling the food resource in your community, controlling economics in your community, controlling the education in your community, controlling the hospital in your community, from a revolutionary standpoint, which basically means a standpoint of change in regards to having your own schools, your own everything that have the black contents on it. And so to speak, in regards to Black liberation, Black independence, and Black power, right? Just basically having a Black community that you don't put the work in, revolutionize with, but also that work is not just work that you hear, it also means aspects of determination, would entail self-defense, self-respect, self-love, self-pride, and other aspects in regard to protecting yourself from racial attack from the police department, racial attack from the pigs, racial attack from the FBI, so forth and so on, right? Now, whereas in conjunction with the new revolutionary nationalism, the typical difference is that we identify more with having our nation state. We identify more in regards to having ourselves recognized through the whole world as a nation. The same things that people recognize Nigeria, people recognize Zimbabwe, people recognize Ethiopia, people recognize Brazil, people recognize Jamaica, so forth, so on. We want to be recognized like that as well. We want to be able to control our own destiny. We want to be able to have our own army, our own military. We want to be able to have our own institutions. We want to be able to have our own president, our own vice president, our own cabinet. We want to have our own leadership, our own flag, our own language, our own religion, our own so forth and so on, right? We want to be independent, just like United States independent at the fight. We're looking at that same vision, right? So those are some of the main differences in regard to both of them, right? But subjectively, New Revolutionary nationalism has all the elements. It had the elements of Pan-Africanism because we understand that the African people, the people in the motherland are our allies. So we have a relationship with them. That have been proven through different presidents of Africa, like Marvin Daly, Okalama Window, so forth, so on, will have relationships with the people of Africa, right? And also in the Caribbean. And we also look into the aspect, like, you know, that our independence means that we control everything around us, right? You know, and then also we realize that in regards to doing so, we might be able to defend ourselves in the meantime. And defense is not just a military thing. Defense is a thing to be defending ourselves legally as well, to administer justice, to protect ourselves through propagation, through administer information, protect ourselves health wise through minister of health, protect ourselves through education wise through minister of education, and so forth, so on. Be able to defend ourselves in all levels and aspects, right? So that those, like I said, those are some of the different, those are some of the similarities. But also, like I was saying, we had a revolutionary black nationalism within us as well. It encompasses the concepts of new revolutionary nationalism, which is the whole complete way of life. It's a tool. It's an educational tool, right? Like I said earlier, to decolonize the colonized, so that we be able to utilize the aspect of social, political, cultural, economic, and military to build our new African nation. In the midst of educating ourselves to be able to become that new man, new woman, to create a new society, so we can be that new African nation. Yeah.
What is the difference between the Republic of New Africa, RNA, and the PG, RNA, the provisional government of the Republic of New Africa? Can you please give us some transparency on the difference between the two?
Well, it kind of self-explanatory, but it's not, because people see certain titles and ideas. Well, it said the provisional government of the Republic of Africa. It didn't say the provisional republic. It said the provisional of. So the provisional government is actually the government that actually controlling the Republic of Africa, and they're actually voted in by representation through the new African election that take place every year. And the provisional government consists of a cabinet. It consists of a president, first, second, third vice presidents, minister of education, minister of information, minister of defense, minister of economic development, minister of justice, minister of health society, minister of youth, so forth, so on, right? These individuals are representatives of the formation, know the provision of government. Provision of government is also a formation, new African independent movement as well, right? Where the Republic of Africa is the 5 states. That's the nation we want to free, Republic of Africa. We want to free the 5 states. A song would say the black belt, from the black belt theory of Harry Haywood, the Christian black belt theory, so what you want to call it, right? We want to free these 5 states, which is again South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. That's the Republic of Africa, right? And we know that in regards to taking the oath as a citizen, we pledge our allegiance to the Republic of Africa. We pledge our allegiance. We don't pledge our allegiance to the president. We pledge our allegiance to the Republic of Africa, in which we envision the nation state, the country, the nation, the state, the place and location that we want to live in and liberate ourselves at. That's the Republic of Africa, right? And in the midst of the Republic of Africa, on different states, there are different formations, different collective, different cadre, different units, different family, different individuals, and different connections and so forth, so on in those places as well. And it also places as well, it also encompasses another aspect known as the foreign territory, which also had new African population districts that are also satellites of Republic of Africa as well. And within those different satellite networks, they also had different formation, family unit, cadre, and collective as well. And even in the prison system also as well, we had the same exact thing. So those are the differences right now, in a nutshell. Yeah.
All right. And my last question before I give it to the audience. My final question, you already answered it a little bit, and it probably went over a little bit ahead, little bit of heads. But let's talk about a person claiming to be or saying they're an indigenous Indian, a black indigenous Indian, or whatnot, and they will say they're not New African. What would you say about that? Are they considered New African or are they not? Especially in a time with new developments, of course, with indigenous people being from America, black people from America, black Indians, native to the American land. What does New Africa say to people like this? And break it all the way down if you can, please.
Well, first of all, right, New Africa, we realized that the certain people inhabit these 5 states that we're talking about. We understand, we respect the laws of the indigenous people. In fact, in the articles of the briefs by Marv Adeli and Guy Abadeli talk about the relationships in regards to the Native American, and also in regards to use certain court cases to exemplify our claim for nationhood by talking about the Native American claim to nationhood as well. And also, there has been a relationship with the American Indian movement that also started in 1968 as well in regard to the provision of government African. So we don't have New African don't have, you have any people that have no issues with any Native Americans. They want to work with us in order to free this land. And also in regard to the aspect of things, right, we have a process called naturalization. Now, if the individual who are considered Native American, Black, Indigenous, whatever, so forth, the other term that you utilize, right, want to become citizens of the Republic of Africa, they also can petition. Because there are also citizens of the Republic of Africa that have their African descendants in them. Some citizens might be in Jamaica, some citizens might be Nicaragua, some might be Haiti, some might be even in the motherland, some might be in Brazil, some might be in Belize, but they have their African within them, so they can petition for naturalization to become new African citizens, right? So there's no problem with issues in regards to any of that, right? In regards to that, it's just a point of communication, a point of change ideas, and going through the proper procedure and policy to make things happen. So there's no problem at all whatsoever. Yeah.
Can you add a little bit more details, history, and emphasis on why we consider the Moor, the Indigenous Black Indian, Native Indian, a new African of African descent? There's a lot of confusion and division going along with this topic, and I would love for you to address it from the New African Revolutionary Nationalist perspective. From our perspective.
We know Africans have populated the whole planet Earth. That's historical facts. All the great historians, scholars told us, from Dr. Ben, Dr. Jeremy Clark, Ibn Sertima, Sheikh Anta Diop, even a lot of the European, Asian, and other scholars have told you the same exact thing. It's not no mystery, in regards to that. So, but if you look at it realistically, right? If a lot of people ain't never been to Africa, so identify with Africa is something that a lot of people don't want to do because they never been. And also due to the fact that you got propagation and biases up that the African people don't deal with new African people, deal with people in America, that they're further push the aspect that that we're not related, we're not connected, so forth whatsoever, right? Then you also have the aspect that there are the people that will turn $2 Indians, people that might have been European or so forth, so on, that you the Indian Native American benefit for economic benefits as well to establish certain rights, to get on certain reservations, so forth, so on, right? So there's a lot of different peculiars in regard to those situations, in regard to what we're talking about, right? But it's a learning process and also educational process that take place in regard to make this work. There's got to be a willingness to make this work in regard to what we're talking about. And some of the conversation with all the companies we're talking about can go on and on in regard to what we're talking about. It's a lot of conversation, right? These are a lot of points. Just on some of these one point can go on for days and weeks on certain things, right? Because people got different beliefs, different concepts, different arguments, different philosophy, different things going on in regards to people, and also like in regards to Native American question that when a lot of people who identify as indigenous, with African people indigenous to the whole earth when you look at it realistically, right? From their perspective, materially, historically, we indigenous to the whole earth. But the people consider themselves Native American, that they're indigenous to what the place we call America right now, the empire, right? These people have been here for hundreds and thousands of years, right? So their history said that they were here. A lot of the history doesn't say they were from Africa. But historically, we know in order to get here, you got to come from Africa. You got to come from Africa because Africa the cradle of civilization. All the civilization started there. All the ancient civilization started there. All the mathematics, science, philosophy, everything sounded, everything in America, the mimic behind it. Even the aspects of the clothing, the robe, language of the Native Americans, it mimicked the African civilizations. even the architecture, even the aspect of the religion, the culture, deities, and the food, so forth, so on, right? You know, there's a lot of similarities with all of this stuff. So without a doubt, the more we look into our story, because we're not looking at his story, the history, we're looking at our story, we'll find more better suitable aspects of similarity than we have things that make us different. So it's about research and education. That's what it's about. It's about education for liberation. That's what we're doing right now.
Yes, sir. That is what we're doing right now. For the sake of unity, education is key. For transparency amongst the different types of tribes and nations that we have of our melanated brothers.
And in regards to that, the Moors, right? They say they're descended from Africa, right? But they identify also as Moorish Americans, right? As being indigenous people also as well. But their descendancy is from Morocco, which is an African place. They also they descended from Mauritania, which is an African place as well. And they also say that the people of Tamaray, which is the Egyptian people, are Moors also as well, and say they identify with them also as well, right, in Guatemala Atlantic. So they just something I just want to put it out there.
Thank you, Bomani Shakur. This is brought to you by the George Jackson University. Thank you for the political education. Can you please close us out by telling us the importance of education?
Education is something that on transfer our reality, man. It's something they're gonna give us the transfer from this culture that we're in right now, which is an oppressive culture, to a culture that's independent. And everything that we talking about, from the social, from the political, from the culture, from the military, from the economical, it starts with education or knowing any about it, about all those things. We talking about having the military, we might have education. Talking about having a government, we must have education. We talking about having a food, so we may have education. We talking about having our own bank, store, school, hospital, we may have education. Talking about having a nation, we may have education. Everything starts with education. Education changed our mind state. It changed our reality. It changed who we are. It changed everything about us. Once applied and applied. Now yeah. Now yeah. And I also wanted to say that, that my only thing I want to say is that let's just do the work, man. Let's do the work. That's it. Then complicate, you know. Well,
Yes, sir.
wherever you sufficient in, do that. Like Dr. John Clark say, wherever you do bad, do it for the people. So just do it. That's it.